Hey guys, welcome to the Aqua fish room. It's been a little while since I've given you an update, and I thought I'd just treat it today like you were here with me. So let me show you around, let me show you what's changed, let me show you what I'm working on, because there's a few projects coming up and there's a few videos I think you might want to see. So we're not going to edit today, something a bit different, but I do want to show you what I've been working on. So this is sort of the little setup at the moment, trying to get some different angles and sort of where a lot of the magic happens. Just working on some old video at the moment. This is last week's video. How cool is this tank? I was so inspired when I saw that tank and heard about that tank that I went over and got to meet an awesome father and son duo and created a video last week, so definitely check it out. But let's start from this side. I think, personally, I think this is one of the most underrated tanks that I have. I keep thinking about ripping it down. I'm like, it's dirty, it's ugly, but it just never ceases to amaze. This is where I keep my 8 lamb chop rasboras. Now, I've had them in here for probably a year, but I can only see 6, so sometimes I can only see 4. I can't think of the last time I saw 8, so I may have lost a couple, but this tank, it's like a river flow sort of setup. Originally this was set up to look like a river for a white cloud breeding setup, but it didn't really work, and these guys seem to like it a lot more than the white clouds. The other guys that really love this tank, where are you? I can't see them at the moment. There is a bunch of black cherry shrimp in here. I think because they're black, they're always a bit trickier to see. And then also just some like regular cherry shrimp that don't really have too much color. Over here, we have the hang on back filter. I'll show you what I'm doing with that just in about a minute or two. There you go, there's some shrimps over there. This is just a Petworks 3-watt light, $30 light, cheap light, works really well for a nano aquarium. And you can see you've got your easy growing plants like your crypt, your subwassatang, your Anubias, and there's a little Anubias nat petite growing on that wood that it was just a big accident, but it's sprouted like a pup of its own, one of these plants, and it's just attached itself to that wood, and it's gonna look really cool in the long run. So I almost threw that wood out, but I'm glad I didn't. Over here you can see some guppy grass. It's the only tank I have that guppy grass grows in, so whatever's going on in here it seems to be favourable for the guppy grass. Next door we have pretty much the same setup. This is exactly the same one. Yeah. No, this is a 6-watt version of the Petworks light. And these are the 2 Japan blue endlers that we got from Keeping Fish Simple. So if you haven't seen that video, that was like 2 weeks ago. I'll put a link for that one too, but can you see it in the background? Right at the back, don't know if you can see that right now, but these 2 have given me a whole bunch of babies, which that was the idea. I wanted to get the pair and see if I could breed them, and again, I'll show you where they'll end up too. But this has also just been like a bit of an experimental plant tank, to be honest. I did a scape in here and it just started not going the way I wanted. I wanted to try and breed CPDs in here, didn't have any luck, and sort of didn't know what to do with the tank. Almost threw it out a bunch of times, but glad I didn't, because now this is their home, and yeah, I think I'm gonna create something more with those guys. Over here, we just have a half empty tank. But this is actually full of live blackworms. So it's just like a really shallow substrate, really shallow tank, really dirty tank. Minimal air, just something to give a bit of oxygen into the water. But effectively, we're just trying to grow some live blackworms in here, which are a great treat for your fish. So I've done a video about that stuff as well. And I can give you some more info if you need. This tank here is, it amazes me how clean this tank is with so many big fish. The only things I can think is that, I mean, there's a decent cleanup crew, and There's like one of the biggest plecos going around the Southland pleco. But we've also, you can see, have a look at this. Go from here. All this pothos. Trying to grow up the wall and around. So I've just shoved that back behind that rock background. Sort of like an Aqua decor rock background. And it's going nuts. This particular plant actually was inside and wasn't doing so well, so we moved it out here, and you can see it's come back to life. In here we have the Mutt and the guppies, so we've got sort of like a cross between a black guppy and an Endler. So that's why I sort of separated these guys from my just pure Endler tank. I love them though, they still look really good. Although this guy looks like he's a pure Endler in there. We've got some of our gold barbs and our goldfish. This guy is going to feature in a big video coming up real soon. He's going to a new home, and you've got to check it out. It is going to be one of the most fantastic places a fish could ever end up. Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but I can't wait for that. That's probably in the next couple of weeks. I am going away for a little bit, but probably, maybe it'll be a month away actually, because I'll have to do it when I get back. And yeah, he's going to do really, really well for himself. We've got the Pakistani loach, the Siamese algae eater. I got that guy not long ago and he was maybe a tenth of that size. But yeah, we've got some of the tetras. There's a real mishmash of a tank in here, and I really want to do something with this, or I just want to move it on, because I want to use this space. It blocks my garage door, so you can't get out of the garage without moving this tank. So at the moment I enjoy having it, but what am I going to do with all these fish? So we'll sort of work out what's going to happen there. Over here is another tank that I'm not really sure what to do with as well. This is the old Kribensis breeding tank, but there's about 8 or 9 Kribensis in here. They're all fully grown now. This guy is the dad for all of them. They're really beautiful looking, but Kribensis are a tricky one. They're such good parents that they can look after their young and end up with a whole bunch in the tank. But then you end up with this territory game and this dirty looking tank that everything's getting mucked around all the time. So to be honest with you guys, I really think it's time to sort of use that space for something else. Coming back around here, this tank has been under siege with hair algae. We've got lots of issues that have been happening with this tank. I tried pulling the hair algae out, and a lot of the Monte Carlo lifted up because it was so entwined in the Monte Carlo. It's totally my fault. I think I rely on this tank to sort of look after itself, and I don't do enough water changes, and I think that I've ended up with maybe it's a detritus buildup that hair algae is really sort of thrived on. I changed the light. This light is the Dymax SpaceX. It's fantastic for growing things, but it's pretty powerful. So I did add in some of this Ambulia and some of the Val at the back after listening to the George Farmer podcast, because if I can grow more plants, that should try and take some of the nutrients away from the hair algae. But this guy is fantastic in here. I don't want him to be in here forever. I think he deserves his own tank. And these guys are trying to work on that algae for me. So stay tuned. There'll definitely be an update on this tank and how I get rid of this algae, because believe it or not, it actually looked a lot worse last week. That I can't share with you yet. I want to share it with you eventually, but I'm not happy with where it's at yet, but that'll be a lot of fun too. So this is where I put the new Flexi Mini Light, the dry start. Look at that Monte Carlo, it has gone crazy. So we've got S Repens and AR Mini in here. I need to trim it, I think. I was about to flood this the other day. Now I'm thinking trim everything off, see what I can do to maybe replant and fill it out just a little bit more. But yeah, that Monte Carlo is growing pretty tall and pretty long. Everything looks fantastic. It is ready for water, and it is ready for those Japan blue endless. What I'm going to do, because I think I ended up with about 30 babies and I've only got a few left, next time I see that I've got some babies, I'm going to be chucking them in here. And that filter from the first tank, I'm going to be putting that in there as well. So that is already cycling so that we can speed things up. But if you haven't tried a dry start, just definitely give it a go. Look what it can do to plants, get them really well established and really increase your chances of success with a new aquascape. This tank here, I remember I wanted to get rid of this a couple times, but I can't. Last week when we went to see Mick and Aaron, he was talking about his trailer park pond outside, and I suppose this is my trailer park pond. I love it, it looks natural. The pothos has gone crazy in here as well. If you can remember back to the start, as I said, I'm not editing, so definitely go back and look at some of these videos. But this Endler breeding colony is doing fantastic. Although I do have a couple Mutt guppies in there, which kind of ruins it a little bit. I actually hadn't noticed that I had those two guys in there. But yeah, fantastic. There's so much life. You can see they get so much activity whenever I come near the tank. It's a very dark tank. It's a Blackwater tank. There's a lot of tannins released from this, but I think the fish really love it. Jumping over to the salty side, this tank is looking really good. We got on top of the hair algae problem over here using a product, Phosphorex. It killed it. It did such a great job. You can see it's so much clearer. Unfortunately, in the process, while I was trying to figure out what was going on, we'd lost this guy. He's still like melting away, and this guy. Everything else is doing okay, although I had noticed a few less zoas than normal. So I've got to look into that. But look at that. That is a new anemone. So that anemone has split into two, and literally today is the first day I've noticed that. I got one anemone a couple months ago. You can come around the side here. There's one now on the back, one up here. This one here, which I don't know, it's hard to tell when they split which one's the one that you think is the same one, but then it split again. This clownfish, she has grown a fair bit. I do want to get another one so that we've got a pair in there. This guy's really good. A lot of people get worried about the royal dottybacks, but mine's fine. Like, no issues, there's no fighting, there's no carrying on. I think it's one of those things that you can get a jerkfish, and I may be lucky that I just didn't get a jerkfish. Or maybe just that the clownfish is so happy with its home and hosting that anemone that they sort of stay out of each other's way. There is a lawnmower Blenny in here, who I love watching, but yeah, sometimes it's a bit tricky to find. I can't see him. You'll have to, to catch another video. There is a special where I got him a few, maybe 6 weeks ago. He's been fantastic, and he's probably the next key reason after the Phosphorex that this hair algae, there's a little bit there, but is not taking over the tank. Over here, love playing a bit of Persona 5. If you guys haven't played it, it's a Japanese role-playing game. It's crazy, it's weird, but if you haven't been to Japan, it's probably the closest feeling to being in Japan in some virtual world. Also been really enjoying Aquariums Unfiltered, the King of DIY new podcast. I've been listening to that while driving around, but just catching up on an episode that I haven't finished. Over here, the last tank. This tank is throwing everything at me as far as trying to make things difficult, but also rewarding me at the same time. So you can see in here we have the red crystal shrimp. They look fantastic. They look really healthy. They look really happy. We've definitely got at least 3 generations now. We started with 5. We lost a couple early on to planaria, and then now I can never find them all at once. That's how shrimp work. They're hiding everywhere and up the back and everything. But I can, every now and then I just see a tiny, tiny little bright red and white shrimp. They are fantastic. So they're growing, the colony is growing, the plants are definitely growing. Got a few hair algae issues in here as well, and also some pennywort, which I didn't realize could be as dangerous as it is to shrimp. So I'll probably do a feature spotlight on that very, very soon, because pennywort can be something that grows on your plants and it comes off, like there's a little bit up there still. I've tried to bring it all out, this stuff here, but it's a carnivorous plant. So little shrimplets can end up getting eaten, or, you know, by an unsuspecting little baby shrimp. All of a sudden you've got this plant that's wrapping around it. Not ideal when you're trying to breed shrimp and have a nice planted tank, but a little bit of a mess at the moment. But the idea at the moment is just trying to get these plants to grow nice and strong, and the shrimp to just keep multiplying like they are. All right, so that's pretty much it. Did we just do a whole video in one take? That might be why I maybe stumbled a couple times, but it's been awesome having you guys with me. I know I try and do a lot of different things with videos and try editing and everything, but sometimes it's really cool just to have a chat with you. We try doing live streams for a long time. It's not over, it's just really hard to fit in. There's a fair bit going on, but I'm really looking forward to the next video, trying to fix this hair algae, trying to give this guy a much better home, trying to fill this tank. Also, I'm going up to Cairns and I'm gonna go swimming with some sea turtles, so I definitely want you along on the journey for this. So if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you like the video, hit the like button. But until then, if you get new fish, always acclimate them first. I'm Josh from Aquamate. I'll see you soon.
What a wonderful world.
All this pothos, trying to grow up the wall and around. So I've just shoved that back behind that rock background, sort of like an aqua decor rock background, and it's going nuts.